stop right now. Before you skip, before you scroll, before your mind tells you this is just another video, I need you to hear this. There is something happening inside you right now. Something shifting, something waking up, something that has been quietly building for longer than you realize. And the world around you, it can feel it. They just don't know what to do about it yet. But they will. Because Chosen One, you are about to steal the whole show. And no, that's not motivation talk. That's not a feel-good phrase designed to keep you watching. That is the truth about who you already are and what you are already becoming. The stage is set. The lights are on. And the moment everyone has been waiting for, including you, is closer than you think. So stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you in the next few minutes will not just inspire you. It will remind you of something you already knew deep down but haven't had the words for yet. Let's begin. Number one. You were never meant to blend in, but the world spent years trying to convince you otherwise. From the very beginning, you were different. Not in the way people say when they are being polite or trying to make someone feel special. Genuinely, fundamentally, structurally different. The way you thought was different. The way you felt things was different. The way you noticed things others walked past without a second glance, that was different. And from a very young age, the world noticed that difference. Not to celebrate it, to contain it. You were told to be quieter. Sit still. Follow the rules. Don't stand out too much. Don't ask so many questions. Don't be so intense. Don't feel so deeply. And for a while, maybe you listened. Maybe you tucked that part of yourself away into a quiet corner and learned to perform the version of you that made everyone else comfortable. But here's what never changed. The real you never left. It just waited. It sat in that quiet corner, completely intact, completely powerful, completely patient, because chosen ones don't disappear under pressure. They develop under it. Every time you were told to shrink, your spirit grew. Every time someone tried to make you smaller, something inside you became more defined, more precise, more unbreakable. And now here you are. Not the version they tried to shape, the version that survived everything they tried to shape you into. That version, the one reading this right now, is not someone who is about to blend into the background. That version is about to walk into every room and change the entire atmosphere just by existing. Blending in was never your assignment. It was just a detour, and the detour is over. Number two, the show was always yours. You just didn't know you were already on stage. Here's something most people don't understand about chosen ones. They spend years waiting for their moment, waiting for permission, waiting for someone to finally see them, recognize them, validate them, and hand them the spotlight they deserve. They wait and wait and wait, and while they are waiting, they miss something crucial. The show already started a long time ago, and you have already been the main character this entire time. Every challenge you survived was a scene. Every time you were underestimated, overlooked, or dismissed, that was part of the story. Every quiet moment where you held yourself together when everything around you was falling apart, that was character development that most people only see in movies. You have been performing at the highest level without even realizing it because you thought performing meant having an audience. But here's the truth. The most powerful performances happen when no one is watching. When you choose integrity over convenience in a room by yourself, that's a performance. When you choose growth over comfort, even when it's painful and private, that's a performance. When you refuse to become bitter, even after you've been betrayed, broken, or burned, that is an Oscar-worthy performance that the universe does not miss, even if the people around you do. The show was always yours because the stage was always your life. And every single thing you have lived through was not a delay, it was preparation, it was rehearsal. It was building the kind of depth and dimension that the people who are about to witness your next chapter will not be able to look away from. You weren't waiting for your moment, you were becoming the person worthy of it. Number three, what they called your weakness is actually the thing that is going to make them stop and stare. Think about the thing about yourself that you've spent the most time trying to fix, hide, or apologize for. The thing people have made comments about. The thing that made you feel like too much or not enough. The sensitivity they said was dramatic. The ambition they called arrogant. The quietness they called antisocial. The intensity they said was overwhelming. The way you see the world differently that made people uncomfortable. That thing. The exact thing you thought was the problem. That is your power, because here's what people don't understand about the chosen path. It doesn't look like everyone else's path on purpose. It's not supposed to make sense in the conventional way. It's not supposed to fit neatly into the template everyone else is using. And the qualities that make you not fit, those are not bugs. They are features. They are the specific tools you were given for the specific purpose you were designed for. The sensitivity that made you feel too fragile is the same sensitivity that allows you to read a room, understand people at a depth others cannot reach, and create connections that feel real in a world full of surface-level interactions. The intensity that made others uncomfortable is the same intensity that will carry you through challenges that would break someone operating at a lower frequency. The ambition they called too much is the same energy that will build things that outlast every person who ever doubted it. You spent years thinking the thing that made you different was holding you back. But what if I told you it was always the thing pushing you forward? What if the very quality that felt like your greatest obstacle is actually the signature move, the thing that when people finally see it in its full expression will make them stop, stare, and wonder how they ever overlooked you? Because that is exactly what is about to happen. The world is about to see all of you, not the edited version, not the contained version, not the version that tried to make itself smaller to fit, the full version. And when they do, chosen one, they will not be able to look away. Number 4, you have been underestimated, and that underestimation is about to become your greatest advantage. There is a specific kind of power that only comes from being underestimated. It's quiet, it's invisible, it accumulates in silence, and when it finally reveals itself, the impact is seismic. People who are immediately recognized, immediately praised, immediately seen as exceptional, they carry pressure with them everywhere they go. The pressure to maintain the image, the pressure to live up to the expectation, the pressure to never have an off day because someone is always watching and waiting for the moment the shine fades. That pressure is heavy. It changes people. It makes them perform instead of grow. But you were allowed to grow in private. You were allowed to develop, evolve, strengthen, and sharpen yourself without the weight of a public expectation pressing down on you at every step. And because no one was watching too closely, because they already made up their minds that you weren't the standout, you were free. Free to become extraordinary without anyone trying to manage, mold, or monetize that process. The people who underestimated you did not do you a disservice. They gave you a gift. They gave you the gift of becoming in private what will stun them in public. Every dismissive comment someone made about your potential, every time someone passed you over, every time you were treated as an afterthought when you knew you were more than that, all of it was fuel. All of it was stored in a part of you that doesn't forget. That part is about to express itself in a way that cannot be disputed, denied, or diminished. You know what they call it when someone who was counted out steps into the center and takes what was always theirs? They call it a moment. But you and I both know it's not a moment. It's the result of years of quiet, disciplined, unwitnessed becoming. And the world is about to witness it now. Number 5. Your energy has already been shifting rooms before you even opened your mouth. You may not realize this yet. You may still be operating under the belief that you need to say something impressive, do something remarkable, or perform in some specific way in order to command a room. But here's what people who have been around you already know. You changed the energy the moment you walked in, before a single word, before a single action. The moment you arrived, something shifted. That is not coincidence. That is not luck. That is a frequency, your frequency, the specific energetic signature that is unique to you and impossible to replicate. Most people move through the world on autopilot. They walk into spaces carrying whatever emotional weather they woke up with, totally unaware of the impact they are or are not having. But you carry something different, a presence that is calibrated, grounded, aware. Even in moments when you feel uncertain or invisible, your energy communicates something that bypasses the ordinary and registers at a deeper level for the people in the room. You've seen it happen. You've walked into a conversation that was tense and watched it soften. You've been in a group that was lost and watched people naturally look towards you even though you didn't ask for it. You've said one thing in the exact right moment and watched it land differently than when anyone else said the same thing. That is not your imagination. That is your frequency doing what it was designed to do. And now, as you step into this next chapter, as the show fully begins, that frequency is going to be undeniable. Not just in the rooms you've always been in every room, in every space, on every stage. Because Chosen One, your energy was always speaking for you. Now your life is about to start saying the same thing out loud. Number 6, the people who left were not a loss. They were the clearing of the stage. Let's talk about the people who left. The ones who walked away, the ones who faded, the ones who chose someone else or something else or nothing at all over choosing you, the ones who didn't stay long enough to see who you were becoming. If you are honest, some of those departures still carry weight. Some of them still sit in a quiet place inside you and ask a question you haven't fully answered yet. Was I not enough? I need you to hear this answer clearly, not with emotion, with precision. You were not the problem. You were the invitation, and they were not ready for it. When you are a chosen one, your presence does something to people that they are not always equipped to handle. It calls them higher. It reflects back to them the gap between who they are and who they could be. For some people, that reflection is inspiring and they rise toward it. For others, it is threatening and they retreat from it. The ones who left were in that second category. They saw what you carried, and instead of rising to meet it, they chose the easier path of removing themselves from the discomfort. That is not your failure. That is your filter working exactly as it should. Every person who left created space. And space is not emptiness. Space is possibility. Space is the room for what actually belongs in your life to arrive and stay and be exactly what it's meant to be. The clearing of your life was not the universe punishing you. It was the universe preparing the stage, removing what was casual, what was temporary, what was misaligned, so that when the right people arrive, and they will arrive, there is room for them to stand fully in your world without being crowded out by what was never supposed to stay. The ones who left were not your loss. They were your preparation. And what is coming toward you now is not the leftovers of what left. It is something better, aligned, worthy, and real. Number 7. You have been in the background long enough. The universe is done waiting for you to step forward. There is a moment in every chosen one's journey where the quiet preparation phase ends, where the private growing, the internal strengthening, the behind-the-scenes becoming, it reaches a point of completion. And the universe, which has been patient, incredibly patient, sends a signal. That signal feels different for everyone. For some, it's a sudden clarity, a moment where everything that was foggy suddenly comes into sharp focus. For some, it's a burning restlessness, a feeling that staying still is no longer possible. For some, it's a door that opens in a way that feels less like opportunity and more like inevitability. For some, it's simply a knowing, a deep, quiet, unshakable knowing that the time is now. If any of those descriptions feel familiar right now, that is not coincidence. That is the signal. That is the universe done waiting. That is the stage fully set and the lights fully on and the moment fully arrived. And here is what I need you to understand about this moment. It doesn't require you to be perfect. It doesn't require you to have everything figured out. It doesn't require you to feel ready in the way you always imagined feeling ready. It only requires one thing from you: step forward. That's it. Not a leap, not a sprint, not a performance of confidence you don't fully feel yet. Just one step forward into the light that has been waiting for you, into the version of your life that has been under construction for longer than you know, into the show that has always been yours, because chosen one, the background was never your home. It was your rehearsal space. And rehearsal is over. Number 8. The version of you that is about to emerge is not who they expected. And that is exactly the point. People have a version of you in their heads, built from old information, built from the version of you that was still finding its footing, still holding back, still navigating the space between who you were and who you were becoming. They froze you in that version, formed opinions, made assumptions, placed you in a category, and moved on with the confidence that they had you figured out. They do not have you figured out. Because the version of you that is about to emerge, the one stepping into this new chapter, the one the universe has been building in the quiet, is not who anyone expected. Not even you, fully. It is sharper than you knew, more grounded than you realized, more magnetic than you gave yourself credit for, more capable than you have allowed yourself to demonstrate until now. The gap between what they think you are and what you actually are is about to close in real time. And when it does, the reaction is not going to be subtle. People do not react subtly when someone they underestimated shows up at a level they cannot deny. The jaw drops. The narrative changes. The energy shifts. Suddenly, the person they passed over becomes the person they can't stop talking about. Suddenly, the one they dismissed becomes the one they point to as an example. Suddenly, you are not who they thought you were. You are what you always were, and the difference is they can finally see it. That is what it looks like when a chosen one steps into full expression. Not loud, not desperate for attention, not proving anything, just fully, powerfully, undeniably present, and absolutely impossible to overlook. Number 9, your story is the most powerful thing you carry, and the world needs to hear it. You have been through things. Real things, things that shaped you in ways that surface-level people cannot access or understand. Things that would have broken someone operating without the specific internal architecture you were built with, and you came through them, not unaffected, not unchanged, but intact, still here, still building, still moving forward. That is not ordinary. That is a story, and not the kind of story that belongs hidden in a private journal or shared only with the few people you trust enough to be fully real with. It is the kind of story that, when told with full honesty and full power, changes the people who hear it. Because here's the thing about the world right now. People are drowning in curated perfection. They scroll through endless images of lives that look flawless, journeys that look effortless, success that looks like it came without cost, and quietly, privately, they feel more alone than ever because their lives are not perfect. Their journeys are not effortless. Their success, if it's coming at all, feels hard and slow and full of stumbles that no one is posting about. And then they encounter someone, chosen one, someone like you, who is willing to show up fully, who is willing to say, yes, it was hard. Yes, I stumbled. Yes, there were moments I wasn't sure I would make it. And also I did. And also, I became something through that process that I would not trade for the easier version. That honesty is not weakness. That is the rarest, most powerful kind of strength. Your story is not the part of you to hide on the way to success. Your story is the success, the way you lived it, the way you survived it, the way you refused to let it define you as a victim, and instead let it shape you into someone extraordinary. That story, told fully and freely, is about to change lives. And it starts with you being willing to let the world see it. Number 10, you stopped asking for permission without even realizing it. And that is when everything started to change. There was a version of you that waited for approval, for validation, for someone of authority or status or confidence to look at you and say, yes, you are allowed, you are qualified, you have permission to take up space, to pursue the vision, to claim the life you can see so clearly in your mind. That version of you was patient, respectful, deeply attuned to the feelings and opinions of others, and also quietly miserable, because permission never came. Not in the form you were waiting for, not from the people you thought it would come from, not in the timing you expected. And somewhere along the way, in a moment that probably felt small at the time, you stopped waiting. You decided, not dramatically, not with a speech or a declaration, just quietly and firmly inside yourself, that you were enough, that the vision was real, that the path was yours regardless of who co-signed it. And that was the moment the shift began, because chosen ones who are waiting for permission are powerful but contained, like a river with a dam. All of that force, all of that energy, all of that potential held behind a structure built from other people's opinions. But the moment you stopped waiting, the moment you decided your own knowing was enough, the dam broke. Not explosively, quietly, decisively. And the flow that began in that moment has been gathering speed ever since. You may not have noticed it yet. The world around you may not have fully caught up to it yet. But something changed when you stopped asking. And that change is irreversible. You cannot unbecome someone who knows their own authority. You cannot go back to waiting once you've tasted the freedom of moving without needing permission. The show that is about to unfold is the direct result of that moment. The moment you decided you were enough to begin. Number 11. What looks effortless from the outside is the result of something they will never fully see. People are going to watch you from here forward and use a very specific word. That word is effortless. They are going to say that it comes naturally to you, that you make it look easy, that you were just born with it, that it must be nice to have that kind of talent or charisma or magnetism just flowing out of you without any apparent effort. And you are going to smile and nod and let them believe whatever they need to believe. Because you know the truth. You know what it cost. You know the years of internal work that no one saw. The mornings you got up and kept going when everything in you wanted to stop. The relationships you had to grieve because growth required moving beyond them. The beliefs you had to dismantle one by one, painful and slow, because they were built on other people's fears and not on your actual capacity. The versions of yourself you had to let go of in order to become the version standing here now. None of that was effortless. All of it was intentional. All of it was chosen. All of it was the kind of work that doesn't get posted or celebrated or applauded because it happens in the private space between who you were and who you are becoming. The invisible labor of chosen ones is the most real work in the world. And it never looks like work from the outside because by the time the world sees it, it has been refined into something that moves with grace. Let them call it effortless. You know what it is? It is the result of choosing over and over and over again to become. And that choosing, that daily private commitment to your own evolution is what the world is about to see the product of. Not the process, the product. And the product is breathtaking. Number 12. You were never competing. You were preparing. Here is something that will reframe everything when you truly absorb it. While other people were competing, positioning, comparing, measuring themselves against each other, trying to get ahead of this person or stay relevant against that one, you were doing something completely different. You were preparing, going deeper, building the foundation, strengthening what was underneath so that what was on top would be unshakable. Competition operates on a horizontal plane. Who is ahead of who right now? Who has more followers, more money, more recognition, more status? It is a race on a flat track, and the goal is to be at the front of the line. But chosen ones don't operate on that plane. They operate vertically. They go deeper and higher simultaneously, deeper into self-knowledge, discipline, purpose, and integrity, higher into vision, possibility, and impact. They are not racing anyone. They are building something. And what they are building cannot be compared to what anyone else is doing because it is entirely singular. You are not behind anyone. You are not in competition with anyone. You never were. Every time you looked sideways and measured yourself against someone else's timeline, their results, their visibility, their apparent success, you were using the wrong measuring tool. Your scale is not other people. Your scale is your own potential. And measured against your own potential, you are exactly where the preparation required you to be. The people who seemed to be winning the race while you were focused on depth, they built fast on shallow ground. And fast, shallow things show their cracks under pressure. What you have been building has depth. It has roots. It has the kind of structural integrity that allows it to hold weight, withstand storms, and last. And now that the building phase is moving into the expression phase, the difference between what is rooted and what is not is going to become very visible. You were never behind. You were being built. And chosen one, the building is magnificent. Number 13, the right people are already finding their way toward you. As you step into this next chapter, as the show begins, something is happening in the energetic field around your life that you may not have fully registered yet. The right people are moving toward you, not being forced, not being convinced, being drawn naturally, inevitably. Because the frequency you are now operating at is broadcasting something that the right people, the aligned ones, the ones who are meant to share this next chapter with you, are receiving. You know how certain music finds you at the exact moment you needed to hear it? You didn't search for it, you didn't plan for it, it just appeared at the right time in the right place, and it felt like it was made specifically for where you were. That is what is happening in your relational landscape right now. The right conversations are about to begin. The right collaborations are about to form. The right friendships, the ones built on values and depth and mutual recognition of something real, are about to appear in your life in a way that feels less like luck and more like alignment finally clicking into place. And the reason this is happening now, the reason the right people are arriving in this season and not an earlier one, is because earlier you were still becoming someone ready to receive them. You were not yet fully the person who could hold that level of connection with integrity. But you are now. The becoming is at a point where what you offer and what you need are both clear, both honest, both real. And that clarity is magnetic to people who are operating at the same level.